In a distant forest, there lived a little bird with feathers as radiant as the morning sun and a heart as gentle as the first breeze of spring. But it had a strange habit that no other creature in the forest shared. Every day, whether happy or sad, it would carve its feelings into a small stone. Then, it would place the stone into a cloth bag it carried on its back and continue flying. Good memories are to keep for a smile. Sad ones, write them down, then let them go. That was what the little bird believed. At first, the bag was feather-light, just like its heart. Each stone held a story, a warm drop of rain, a kind word, a time it had been misunderstood. All were worth remembering. Day by day, the bag grew heavier. But the bird didn't notice. It kept collecting everything, never missing a thing, never letting go of a single feeling. One day, as it flew low across the edge of the forest, it met an old owl standing silently on a dry branch. "Hey, little one, what's in that bag?" the owl asked. The bird smiled. "It's my life. Every joy, every sorrow, every lesson. It's all in here." The owl looked at it for a long time, then asked gently, "Are you living in today, or flying with yesterday on your back?" The bird fell silent. It didn't know how to answer. The bag grew heavier still. The wings that once soared among the clouds now could barely skim above the trees. But the bird still thought, "I must remember. I can't forget what I've been through." Until one rainy afternoon, when thunder cracked the sky and the wind howled, the little bird tried to fly home. But its wings could no longer lift the weight. The bag full of stones dragged it down to the wet ground. The stones scattered, some shattered, some rolled away. Its tiny body lay still beneath the very memories it had cherished. The old owl arrived, quietly watching the little bird. He said nothing of wisdom, no lecture. He simply bowed his head and whispered, "Memories are meant to remind us, not to weigh us down." That night, the rain still fell. But in the wind, something seemed to rise. Not the bird, but a lesson taking flight, light as mist. The next morning, the rain had stopped. The sky was clearer, and a young swallow flew across that forest, where the night's downpour had just washed away every trace of dust and shadow. The swallow spotted a small cloth pouch lying at the foot of a tree, beside a tiny, still figure. It landed gently, picking up the worn fabric bag. Opening it, the swallow found small stones inside, each carved with tiny words, scratched carefully by a bird's beak. It read, "That day, I heard a voice singing so pure. Today, someone called me foolish. The first time I knew what heartache meant." Each line was a fragment of a life, and something stirred deep in the swallow's chest. Returning to its flock, the young swallow shared the story of the little bird who had gathered memories like precious treasures, and because of that, could no longer fly far. No one spoke at first, only a long silence. Then an old swallow softly said, "We all have a bag of memories, but not everyone knows when to put it down." From that day on, the flock changed a habit. Whenever a swallow felt sorrow, it would tell a friend. Then together they would release a leaf into the stream, as if letting that feeling drift away. And when they encountered something beautiful, a laugh, a hug, a sunlit day, they would carve it into the wind so the breeze could carry it, so it could stay free. And whenever they flew through skies heavy with gray clouds, they sang a new song. A song that did not gather memories to carry on their backs, but to remind each other, wings only need to be light, and that alone is enough to fly. The story of the little bird who couldn't fly because it carried too many memories, and of the swallows who released leaves into the stream instead of holding on to sorrow, spread across the forest like a strange, gentle breeze. At the edge of the marsh, an old turtle, known for living long and remembering even longer, for the first time stopped retelling his old, aching tales. He sat by the tall grass, dropped empty snail shells into the water, and said, "Not every old story needs to be retold. Some just need to be passed through." The fish in the stream no longer bragged about the scars on their backs like trophies. Instead, they began playing a new game called Today's Tale, only sharing the best thing that had happened in the past 24 hours. Even the rowdy troop of monkeys learned to sit in silence for a few minutes each morning. They watched the sunrise and reminded themselves, "The mind is like the sky. Even if it was stormy yesterday, it can still be bright today." One day, the season changed. Winds shifted. Flocks of birds from distant lands passed over the forest, looking for a place to rest. They brought with them the whispers of other forests, places still filled with grudges, rivalry, and unhealed pasts. Seeing this forest so calm, with no envy, no echo of old complaints, they grew curious. Why is everyone here so light-hearted? The old turtle only smiled, picked up a fallen leaf, and dropped it into the stream. Because we choose to let go of what we no longer need to carry. A young deer, who had feared thunder since it was little, used to tremble at every storm. But after hearing the tale of the little bird and the cloth pouch, it began writing its fears into the wet soil, then gently stomping until they faded away. "I don't need to hold on to this fear anymore. I've grown." Over time, the forest became more than just a place. It became a symbol. Travelers who passed through felt lighter, even if they only stayed for one night. And everyone who left carried one simple thing: the quiet knowing that they didn't have to carry everything forever. In every bird's song, in every breeze brushing through the canopy, echoed the words once spoken long ago. Memories are meant to remind us, not to weigh us down. If you're still listening here, perhaps in your heart you also carry a cloth pouch like that little bird, filled with stones from the past. Maybe it's words someone once said that hurt you, a missed opportunity, a decision you regret, or simply a bad day that keeps replaying in your memory. But you know what? You don't have to carry it all. No one flies high with heavy wings. Life isn't a race to hold on to everything. It's a journey to learn what's worth keeping and what's better to let go. Some things, when held on to, only weigh your heart down deeper. But when released, they become the wind that lifts your steps forward. Try this today. Write down what has hurt you the most recently. Read it again, then burn it, or let it go in the water. And say to yourself, "I don't have to carry this anymore. I choose to live lighter." The little bird couldn't fly because it loved the past too much. But you are different. You've learned its lesson. And you are still here, ready to drop the old stones and fly toward the sun. If tomorrow your mind drifts back to tired memories, remember that forest, where swallows release leaves into the stream, where the old turtle chooses silence instead of retelling pain, where a young deer knows it has grown, and you are growing every day by the gentleness you choose for yourself. Don't try to make everything okay. Choose to make everything light. Memories will always be there. But now, they are just the wind, cooling your back as you fly toward the future, wishing you to fly high and fly light.